deal with nutrition. So, first of all, what is nutrition? See, whatever the things we are getting from our food in the form of energy, in the form of minerals, in the form of vitamins, in the form of proteins, in the form of carbohydrates, that all thing we are engulfing and we are using it for the sake of energy. This process only is known as what? Nutrition. And we can say the process of engulfing nutrients is known as what? Nutrition. See, when we walk on a ride, a bicycle, we are using an energy. Even when we are not doing any apparent activity, energy is needed to maintain a state of order in our body. We also need materials from outside in order to grow, develop, synthesize protein and other substances needed in the body. This source of energy and materials is the food we eat. See, whatever we are doing, the activities, whether it is a low consuming, low energy, low level and low energy level activity or high energy level activity, but we need energy. So all this energy we are getting from the food materials itself. See, how do living things get their food? What they're telling, think of it. How do living things get their food? The general requirement for energy and materials is common in all organisms. See, all of us, whether it may be a bacteria, it may be a virus, all of us, we need energy, but it is fulfilled in different ways. See, some organisms use simple food materials obtained from inorganic sources in the form of carbon dioxide and water. See, many of the organisms are using energy as carbon dioxide and water. These organisms, the autotrophs, include green plants and some of the bacteria. See, autotrophs stand for one who prepares their own food with the help of photosynthesis process. It may be a bacteria, it may be a blue green algae, it may be many of plants. Okay, they all are coming under the category autotrophs. See, other organisms utilize complex substances. These complex substances have see these complex substances have sorry these organisms, the autotrophs, include green plants and some bacteria. Other organism utilizes complex substance. These complex substances have to be broken down into simpler ones before they can be used for the upkeep and growth of the body. See, whatever the energy we are getting, it is in a complex form and we need to convert it in a simpler molecular form. If it is in a complex form means our body cannot use it. It may be in our body, it may be in the bacteria's body or it may be in the virus body. That is not going to utilize by them. But when that complex molecules are converted into a simpler form of molecules, at that time our body is going to use that. Okay, and our body's growth is going to be done. Okay, see, to achieve this, organisms use biocatalysts called enzymes. Thus, the heterotroph survival depends directly or indirectly on autotrophs. Heterotrophic organisms include animals and fungi. See, whatever we are discussing here, Firstly, we have discussed autotrophs. After that, one more category it is present. That is nothing but the heterotrophs. We can say directly, indirectly, heterotrophs are completely depend on autotrophs for their growth, for their development, okay, for their survival. All such things are completely depend on autotrophs. Okay, when we are discussing about the autotrophs, then let's see what is autotrophic nutrition. See, carbon and energy requirement of autotrophic organisms are fulfilled by the process photosynthesis. See, as we know, photosynthesis is one of the process in which plants are utilizing carbon dioxide as well as sunlight along with some of the minerals and water. Okay, so these are the requirement or required things by the autotrophs for their nutrition or for their consumption. It is the process by which autotrophs takes in substances from the outside and convert them into stored form of energy. See, when they are doing this process, not only demanded energy they are going to perform, along with that they are making some more energy, and that will be stored in a usable form afterwards, not exact on them. Okay, this material is taken in the form of carbon dioxide and water, which is converted into carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. See, as we know, chlorophyll is a green pigment present in plants, and sunlight is one natural source. We can say it is only one source naturally available. From that, alternate sources are going to be generated. See, now when they are using this, the things which they are forming is in the form of carbohydrates itself. Okay, see, carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plants. We will study how this takes place in the next session. See, the carbohydrates which are not used immediately are stored in the form of starch, which serves as the internal energy reserve to be used as and when required by the plants. A somewhat similar situation is seen in us, where some of the energy derived from the food we eat is stored in our body in the form of glycogen. See, whatever the energy or carbohydrates are produced by autotrophs, they are going to store some amount of it. The similar way in our body too, whatever the things we have consumed, after that, our after completion of our body need, some amount of nutrients are going to left, and that are going to stored in the form of glycogen. Instead of glucose, it is stored in the form of glycogen in the liver itself. So the liver is the organ which is going to convert glucose into glycogen, and again whenever the need is there, that glycogen is again converted into a glucose. Okay, see, we can go through the chemical reaction which is taking place in the plants. See, 6 carbon dioxide molecules plus 12 water molecules in presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, they are going to produce glucose, that is nothing but a carbohydrate, along with liberation of 6 molecules of oxygen and 6 molecules of water. See, let us see now what actually happened during the process of photosynthesis. The following events occur during this process. See, one thing, During photosynthesis, all these points are going to happen. First, absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Whatever the chlorophyll pigment is present, that is going to absorb the light from sunlight, and conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. See, after absorption of light energy, what they are going to do, they are going to convert light energy into a chemical energy, and from that chemical energy water is going to split into hydrogen and oxygen molecules. After that, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. See, as we are seeing here, 6 carbon dioxide molecules are combining with 12 water molecules. At that time, what they are doing, the carbon dioxide is going to reduce in oxygen as well as carbohydrates. Next, these steps need not take place one after the other immediately. For example, desert plants take up carbon dioxide at night and prepare an intermediate which is acted upon by the energy absorbed by the chlorophyll during the daytime. See, during night time, what they are doing, example is desert plants. During daytime, they are going to absorb the sunlight thoroughly, and during night time, what they are doing, they are just making their food. Let us see how each of them components of the above reaction are necessary for photosynthesis. See, as I have mentioned, the factors of photosynthesis, how they are essential or important, we can say necessary for the photosynthesis. Let's we see. If you carefully observe a cross section of a leaf under the microscope shown in 5.1, see, this is what the leaf structure which we are discussing. You will notice that some cells contain green dots. These green dots are cell organelles called chloroplasts, which contain chlorophyll. Let us do an activity which demonstrates that chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. See, here you can observe in some of the cells. You can see here, you can't see here. Okay, in some of the cells, the green patches or green dots are present. That is nothing but the chloroplast. Okay, how they are acting, let's we see through this activity. Take a potted plant with variegated leaves, for example, money plant or crotons. Keep the plant in a dark room for 3 days so that all the starch gets used. Now keep the plant in sunlight for about 6 hours. Pluck a leaf from the plant, mark the green areas in it, and trace them on a sheet of paper. Dip the leaf in boiling water for a few minutes. After this, immerse it in a beaker containing alcohol. Carefully place the above beaker in a water bath and heat till the alcohol begins to boil. What happens to the color of leaf? What is the color of the solution? Now dip the leaf in a dilute solution of iodine for a few minutes. Take out the leaf and rinse off the iodine solution. Observe the color of the leaf and compare this with the tracing of the leaf done in beginning. What can you conclude about the presence of starch in various areas of leaf? See, whatever the activity we have learned here, it is going to show that wherever the patches are formed in presence of iodine, it is going to be turned dark in color. Okay, whereas if starch is absent or starch is lacking, at that time that part is not going to get the dark patches. Okay, so here we are seeing one of the unit of leaves. What it is going to do, let us see. Now let us study how the plant obtained carbon dioxide. We had, see, which are tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. Massive amount of gaseous exchange takes place in the leaves through those pores for the purpose of photosynthesis, but it is important to note here that exchange of gases occur across the surface of stems, roots, and leaves as well. Since large amount of water can also be lost through these stomata, the plant closes these pores when it does not need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. The opening and closing of the pores is a function of the guard cells. The guard cells swell then when water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. Similarly, the pore closes if the guard shell shrink. See, these are the guard cells. When the water is going to arrive, they are going to shrink and the stomatal pore is going to open. Whereas, if the water is removed from the guard cell, then at that time the size of that guard cell is also shrink, and that is the reason it is going to close. When the water is going to arrive, this guard cell is going to swellen up. Due to that, the stomatal pore is going to open. See next. Based on the two activities performed above, can we design an experiment to demonstrate that sunlight is essential for photosynthesis? See, here we have placed one of the activity which is not required. See, whenever plants are doing photosynthesis, water is also used and taken up from the soil by the roots in terrestrial plants. Other materials like nitrogen is an essential element used in the synthesis of protein and other compounds. See, for the sake of synthesis and production of protein, nitrogen and some of the other compounds are also needed, or these are also important. Taken up in the form of inorganic nitrates or nitrites, or it is taken up as organic compounds which have been prepared by bacteria from atmospheric nitrogen. See, here we need to remind the nitrogen cycle. In that, fixation of nitrogen is going to take place. So, whatever the percentage of nitrogen present in air, it is not in the form of use. It is not in the usable form. So, for that purpose, we need some of the bacteria which is present under the soil. See, next is heterotrophic nutrition. Each organism is adapted to its environment. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of food materials, as well as how it is obtained by the organism. See, each organism has adapted some of the different nutritions. We can say nutritions are different type. Some of them are completely depend on plants, some of them completely depend on other organisms for the sake of nutrition, as well as some of the organisms completely depend on dead and decayed material. For example, whether the food source is stationary, such as grass, or mobile, such as deer, would allow for difference in how the food is accessed and what is the nutritive apparatus used by a cow and lion. See, if it is mobile, mobile means the food or the organism which is moving from one place to another place. The same way, if the food source is stationary, such as grass, at that time they having a different kind of nutrition. So similar way in the cow and lion, we need to answer in our comment box. There is a range of strategies by which the food is taken in and used by organism. Some organisms break down the food material outside the body and then absorb it. For example, fungi like bread molds, yeast, and mushrooms. Other take in whole material and break it down inside their body. What can be taken in and broken down depends on the body design and functioning. Some other organisms derive nutrition from plants or animals without killing them. This parasitic nutritive strategy is used by a wide variety of organisms like Cuscata or amarbel, ticks, lice, leeches, and tapeworms. See, these all are parasitic form. They are completely depend on other organism for the sake of food, and they don't kill that particular organism, but they are getting their food. How do organisms obtain their nutrition? Since the food and the way it is obtained differ, the digestive system is different in various organisms. In single cell organism, the food may be taken up in by the entire body surface. But as the complexity of the organism increases, different parts become specialized to perform different functions. For example, amoeba takes in food, temporary finger like extension of the cell surface which fuse over the food particles, forming a food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down into simpler ones, which then diffuse into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved out to the surface of the cell and thrown out. In Paramecium, which is also a unicellular organism, the cells has a definite shape and a food is taken in at a specific spot. Food is moved to this spot by movement of cilia which cover the entire surface of the cell. So here the amoeba, whenever it looks after the food, it is going to develop a pseudopodia or false food. What it is going to do, it is going to just grab that food particle within its body and the food vacuole is going to form. Surrounding that food, some gap is going to develop. That only is known as what? Food vacuole. And it is rich in some of the chemical factors which is responsible for the digestion of that particular substance. Whereas similar way in Paramecium, it is also a unicellular organism when it is going to, whereas it has a particular or definite shape and food is taken by a specific spot. Okay, and it is taken in with the help of cilia which is covered the entire body surface. Okay. Okay, viewers, I hope so you're understanding my videos, lectures. Keep share, like and viewing my shorts, videos and streaming. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. कि अल्लाह हाफिज़, दुआ में याद रखना. Meet you in next streaming at the same time.